All right, dude, you ready? Welcome to episode 164 of the Drag Driver Pete Show, presented by Summit Racing. Y'all, tonight, I'm really excited. I've been working on this for like days and days. Drag Week is coming. Are you ready? Is the question tonight, because we're going to talk to Mr. Brian Lohnes, announcer of Hot Rod Drag Week, NHRA, and a ton of cool stuff. And during something we're going to talk about in a little bit, I listened to hours of that man's voice over the weekend, which was really fun. And then we're going to get nerdy with stats from like 20 years of drag and drop. It's going to be awesome. Then, are you ready for this? We have Mike Galimi on. He's the network director of Hot Rod Magazine. He's on to talk about Drag Week history. We're going to talk about some Street Machine Eliminator stuff. We're going to talk about 850 stuff, which is going to be awesome. And then one of the main questions I want to ask him is, what does it take to keep the OG event at the top? Which I feel like that is exactly where it's at. So, Mr. Eric White, please hit the intro and let's do this thing.
All right, let's go.
All right, dude. Well, I'm excited again. Welcome to episode 164 of the Drag Driver Pete Show, presented by Summit Racing. Y'all, I'm Mike Narks. I am the host of the show and the news that happens on Saturday mornings. Plus, probably one of the nerdiest drag and drive guys you'll meet. My co-host, my right-hand man over here. Introduce yourself. Tell them what you got going on.
I am Eric White, co-host of the show and the news, and just photography stuff. Got some more Havlicks photos uploaded to our Pixie site, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But yeah, just hammering, just in time to go to Drag Week here and take who knows how many more I'll get.
Bring it on. I cannot wait. Well, you know, one thing we're going to get to do at Drag Week.
Hang out with our race car friends.
Man, I cannot wait. Cannot wait to see you guys and just really spend some fun time together with everybody. This is Drag Week is going to be I don't know. This year is different. It just feels different. There's a lot of really neat stuff going on this year, and it's going to be really fun to spend some time with everybody, and especially Route 66. I've never been to that track, so it's going to be a good one. And of course, our sponsors, we can't do this without them, guys. So if you are shopping, please hit them up. If you find something that you like over there, hit us up. We may have some discount codes discount codes left for Summit. Get those for about another 5 days. Then I'm sure we'll get another batch here after that. And then, of course, Summit Racing, title sponsor here of the show, the news, and the circuit. Pretty exciting. And the Drag and Drive Awards, which is coming up. Deechworks, of course, the official fuel delivery of Drag Driver Pete, and the title sponsor for the short circuit. Molly Motorsports, best pistons in the game. Eric's running them in the Mustang. They were going to come kick some ass with in that those 10-0 classes first, and we're coming for you 850. Get ready. Driven Racing Oil, dude. The barbecue sauce of cam installs. That stuff looked awesome. I want to put it on some fries, but you can't do that. It's not just against the rules that way. And of course, Howard's Camps, Luke B and the team over there, all the valve train stuff you need. J-Wire Solutions. Got to talk to Brian the other day, Brian Acton. We're going to actually do some, breaking news, hopefully on Saturday. That will be a big deal for them. They've been kind of hinting at it, and it's really, really close. AFCO Racing Products, of course, got to hang out with Rex and Eric at Havlic's. Dude, so glad they were there. Had to borrow tools from them, had to take advice from them. It was awesome. Of course, Performer built transmissions. Ryan and the team up there building all the coolest GM transmissions that you can absolutely handle. Car Chains 3D. Corey, I need to send you an email. I've got an idea for a drag and drive part, and I got to get it out of my head so I can move on with my life. And of course, Low Dollar Motorsports, who not only does a whole bunch of sensors and stuff, but is also hosting their own race October 3rd and 4th and 5th there in Kentucky. So it's going to be awesome. To answer Adam Dory, yes, we are both going to be at Drag Week. It's going to be great. All right, sir. Well, let's let Mr. Brian Lohnes tell us about Summit Racing stuff, and we'll get right into this.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance, priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
We got this email from, hey, Carl Steamy says, race car friends, no pants shop. Nice. I like it. We got this email from Tommy Dupree the other day of some new cams that Summit Racing has come out with. And this is a Summit Racing Pro Series, which is their builder series of stuff. These are big, nasty hydraulic roller camshafts. All the chop, none of the compromise. Stop talking. I can't get any harder. Like, I'm ready. I'm making the swap now. These things sounds awesome. Each engine family has 3 cam profiles. Are you ready for this? They got the big, nasty 1. Okay. Lots of low end power, ideal for getting heavier vehicles off their duffs. Okay. I don't need that one. Big, nasty 2. This is excellent mid-range punch for lighter vehicles or vehicles with a touch more gear than stock. That sounds kind of like what I'm into right there. And then Big Nasty 3, strong, higher RPM power band, appreciates steeper gears and a high torque converter stall speed, which that everybody needs that. But man, I think for the old truck, that Big Nasty 2 may be on its way.
Yeah.
That thing sounds awesome. These are actually, they use the LS firing order to reduce harmonics, it says, and then that helps extend bearing life. Who cares about that? Said the firing order swap also increases detonation resistance and improves cylinder head and exhaust gasket life. I'm in. Cool.
Interesting.
Means I get to drive around longer with it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Potato, 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 potato. That's the sound of cams we need right here. But also, speaking of Tommy Dupree, he will be on the show on the 9th of September, days ahead of Hot Rod Drag Week, to talk about his Mustang, talk about what they're doing at Summit Racing during Drag Week, all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, excellent name for cams. Excellent names. So, and of course, while you're in there, hop on over there, type in Drag Drive Repeat. You can get your hats, your big brim hats, which we're gonna need at Drag Week or whatever event you're going to next. Do not get your neck just completely cooked off. Really, what gets me is the top of my ears. Man, that's like the worst place for a sunburn ever, is the top of your ears. And then of course, all the other stuff, t-shirts, hats, all the stuff. But we have our recommended products list that is continually growing all the time. So we have about 32 items on there, something like that. So that's what we, throw it in your trailer, have a spare, whatever. It's kind of a list of all of that stuff. So anything else for Summit that we need to talk about, sir? I felt like I just blasted right through that, man.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Skylar will get a hat only if I sign it.
Well, there's no better time than right now to order at summitracing.com. All right.
T-Town Garage said just got one big nasty for small block Ford Summit 1313.
Nice. All right. Well, Drag Drive Repeat updates. Obviously, Havlic's, bro. Tell us what's been going on in your life.
Yep. So, like I said, I got the album put on Pixie set for Havlic's Fastest Street Car Shootout. Look at this cover photo.
Mama.
Yeah, that's looks awesome. Just uploaded, I don't know what it was, like 50 something photos last night. So those are all on the site now. And I believe all that's left for day 0 is these photos of the S10 and Larry Larson's cars. So once I finish those, then I'll be moving on to day 1 stuff. So hopefully we'll get through the Havlik stuff pretty quickly.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I can't wait. That's one of my favorite events. I mean, I know I say that about almost everything, but it's really fun because it's so different than what we normally do. It's really weird not getting in the car and driving 200 miles after you race.
Right.
So we're so accustomed to that now that like we get to hang out and talk to people till late in the evening. All right, and look at this cool rig, dude. Me and Steven took a 1980-mile trip in 42 hours.
That is wild.
Insane to pick up this proud. It's an O2 model. It goes to one of his customers as wanted to add to the collection. Super neat car. It's got some super special Prowler exhaust on it. I don't know. It was, it's one of those cars. It's like they only make so many in this color across this many years, all that kind of stuff. But it's really a cool car. And everywhere we went, this thing got a ton of attention, of course, like it should. It's a great color. Absolutely perfect in every way to be 24 years old. Blew my mind. And then since we were close, I'm like, dude, let's find out where these were built because they were built alongside the Vipers. So I thought, man, it'd be cool. Go by that plant, right? Bro, holy shit. It was dangerous. Like cars in the street, the trailer barely fit between them. Like I kept waiting on people to run out and stop us. I mean, like it was a whole scenario that I didn't want to get in the middle of there for sure. But we did make it to there. I jumped out of the truck, grabbed the shot, and jumped back in the truck just in case some things went down. It was pretty hairy there for a minute, but thought it was really cool to be, that close to where they built the Prowlers and the Vipers. So had to grab that. It was a really fun weekend.
Yeah, super cool. That's a ton of driving though.
Man, dude, it was a lot. We literally, when we picked the car up, we were there for an hour and a half. That was the most we were stopped for 42 hours.
That's crazy.
Sorry. We did sleep in the truck for 3 hours. And then we slept in a hotel room for about 5. So it's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild trip. And then you're leaving me again, man. Saturday morning, I'm looking for a co-host. So if you guys would like to see somebody co-host, put them in the comments, tag them up, let them know. We're looking for somebody. If we don't find anybody tonight, then we will obviously be on the lookout here in the next day or two. So kind of excited. Oh, yeah. Brandon Parker says getting a Turbo S. That's one of the cars that'll probably never get modified, which is sad because I feel like these cars could have really done well with like a Gen 3 Hemi. But yeah, this car's just too nice. If there was one that was ratty and purple, it probably would get a 3 Hemi. Do things the way we like it.
Dustin said Cody Ham will do it.
Yeah, bring it on. Let's move on to some driven racing oil stuff because, dude, we have a ton of content to go through before these guys jump on here.
Yep, let's go hit this ad read and we'll get into it.
Hey, it's Brandon from Fort Smith, Arkansas here. Driven Racing Oil is a performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application. Whether launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off-road and circle track, or pushing the limits in top-fueled drag boats and demo derbies, winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting-edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cleaning and high-zine formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. Crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil and enhanced with state-of-the-art additive packages, GP1 offers the best in protection and performance.
And real quick, Brian Goldstone just sent me a picture. He has a Prowler now.
Oh, no kidding.
Dude, that guy's got the coolest shit ever.
Right? Cody said he volunteered his wife for co-host.
Nice. Bring it on. That would be awesome.
Dirty Panda said he'll be at Cordova. And Destroyer said, what time on Saturday?
Oh, man. 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. I would love to have Destroyer on. That would be awesome. Let's plan for that. I'll send him a text after the show.
Sweet. All right. Well, you guys know code DDR10 gets you that 10% discount on drivenracingoil.com. So head over there, use that discount code, and save a little bit of money there. First thing up here for some drag drive repeat event updates. We've been talking a little bit about the Circuit 2027 stuff, and you're hoping to be able to release the dates for this here, next week?
Man, I'm hoping I can get the dates locked in tomorrow or Friday. Tomorrow Friday would be awesome because this is going to be a good one if this lands the way I want to.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. We talked about a little bit of it, so let's see if that pans through. That'll be pretty sweet.
Fingers crossed.
All right. Well, getting into our events, again, next event up is Hot Rod Drag Week, which we'll be talking about all night tonight. That is September 13th through 18th in 18 days. Coming up quick. Then we jump to Redwood Rally, which is the 21st through the 26th, 26 days away, and ending the month with 66. I can never get that one right. September 27th through October 3rd, only 32 days away.
What's interesting about September is, as people begin to plan for stuff, if they ask us, hey, what month do you think I should do something in? I'm always like, stay away from September because there's always so many events going on. There's 3 events this year.
Yeah.
In September. So we could have had some more people sign up for some promoters for events in September. Dang it.
Yeah. The month that is busy, though, however, is October. We've got 6 events in October. We've got Weekend Warrior Race and Relax the 2nd through the 4th, which is 38 days away. We've got Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0, the 4th through the 8th, 40 days away. Then we've got our single day event, the Route 66 Roundup, happening on October 17th, only 53 days away for that one.
I'm not ready.
Then we've got
registration is open. Registration's open for that one. I'm gonna do something for the people that register early.
Nice. Then we've got Southeast Street and Yeet, which is the 20th through 24th, 56 days away. We've got Wild West Dragon Dash happening the 21st through 24th, 57 days away. And ending up October is Street Machine Drag Challenge, October 27th through 31st, 63 days away.
Oh, man, that's going to be a good one. That's one that has ran since 2015, and I need to get with those guys and get all the historical stuff for them.
Yep. And then this is the end of the year here. Our last 2 events happening the same weekend, which is our event, the Short Circuit, happening November 6th and 7th, and Road Trip Drag Challenge number 3 happening November 6th through 8th. Both of those are only 76 days away.
Dude, that is so crazy. And then, of course, we have the Drag and Drive Awards at PRI, which I think is December 12th or something like that. So, man, going to be awesome.
Yep. Well, that's 49 events for the year. Again, you can find all of those on dragdriverepeat.com/events. And tons of events. I like that we've got the events that have already passed grayed out with the upcoming events in blue. So kind of a cool edit there that we got done.
Yeah, and I was just making myself a note to go in and do the ones from the 3 that happened last weekend that we're going to go over here in just a second to do all of the, for all the stats.
A&D Hot Rod Shop says, my calendar says 16 days until we leave, and I have not drove the new build yet. Plenty of time.
Oh, that's scary. Plenty of time. I still don't have the brakes done on the truck, but I did drop off the drive shaft this morning for the old truck. So
nice.
Right on track.
Nice. Yeah, it's I've got the head studs for the Mustang, but weekends are booked up here this weekend, so it'll be a little bit until I get to that. Hopefully, maybe next weekend. It'd be nice to get those done. So,
yeah, bring it on. Well, man, some
again,
JWire stuff. Go ahead.
ER10 for the Driven segment. So again, 10% discount on Driven Racing Oil website. You can get some of that Driven barbecue sauce, as you call it, degreaser, speed wax, oil, any of that stuff. Just remember, use code DDR10, get a 10% discount. And then let's hit this JWire Solutions ad, and then we've got some event updates and standings to go over here.
What's up, guys? My name is Cole from Fort Worth, Texas. Expert car and marine wiring solutions that you can trust. JWire Solutions can wire and plumb your hot rod, your race car, hell, even your drag and drive car. Plus, they offer products to make your driving experience way better, like their blinker module that is just a must for all drag and drive cars. This module will allow your rear turn signals to continue to function while the brake pedal is applied, just like stock. Find all the details at jwiresolutions.com.
For sure. A big shout out to J-Wire. I will say that I've been on the phone with Brian Acton quite a bit lately, and the story that we're going to break when hopefully Saturday we can. But man, they have been getting their asses kicked, like hardcore thrash here in front of Drag Week. They were on last time, they were kind of hinting at this thing. Pretty big deal. I'm kind of excited about this, and we'll find out Friday if it can happen or not. Friday is a pivotal time, but I will say they have been absolutely thrashing 4 or 5 hours every night for the last like 10 days to try and get this thing together and back to going. And then to find out that they had to completely rebuild the rear axle in the vehicle to to make this thing work, it's going to be nuts. So I hope we can break the story Saturday morning during the news, and then they are on Wednesday night to talk about that whole entire process and what the plan is, even if it works or it doesn't. So man, it's wild. Danny Gruby here saying 28 days till we leave for 666, and he hadn't even driven the car. Oh my goodness. Oh man, he's not even going to be home to work on it until 10 days before we need to leave. It's fine. Everything's fine.
So do you know what this news is? Do you know anything about it yet?
Just that they've been thrashing their butts off. That's all he'll tell me. He didn't go into great detail, but the rear end story, I had to make a trip to Mosier to get like a bunch of new parts and bearings and all that kind of stuff. And then just I'm not gonna get into engine because we talked a little bit about the engine that's going in this thing, and I don't want to get into that. I want them to be able to break that story or tell us some more. So I'll tell you after the show. Does that make everybody else jealous? Suckers.
All right. Well, let's jump into the results from Sick Michigan Miles that just wrapped up. So we'll go through these results here. So starting out, the quickest overall was Aiden Bailey, and also was the quickest Chevy GMC. So Aiden was in the 57 Chevy and 5:06 average for Aiden.
That's awesome. And did you see have you watched the video that Tom took through the trans tunnel? Scary. Down through the Mackinac Bridge and stuff like that. It's pretty wild to see it. And then quickest Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury. This is Mr. Tom Kepper, 1994 Ford F-150. This thing is a Papal truck. It's like tan and salmon or something. I don't remember what the original colors were, but 5.4 for that dude, 5407.
Nice.
That truck is bad to the bone.
Yeah, for sure. Quickest Mopar was Terry Kiefer, 67 Plymouth Barracuda with a 584 average.
Yeah, I can deal with that. I'm sure if Cole's still watching, he's probably loving the Barracuda life there. Quickest Pontiac, Mr. Doug Whited, 89 Firebird with a 619 average to finish the week.
Quickest Buick was Harry Ulrich and 87 Buick Grand National, 822 average.
Come on, that's got to be V6 powered for sure. Quickest Olds, Mr. Christopher Weingart's 82 Oldsmobile Cruiser, 781. That's
nice.
A cruiser, man. That'll do burnouts.
Yeah. Quickest stick shift, William Philippin, and a 2000 Corvette with a 604 average.
That's pretty quick. I like it. Quickest naturally aspirated car, Mr. Don Gatlin, 1966 Chevy Nova with a 633.
Nice. Quickest nitrous was Josh Opferman with a 04 GMC Sierra, 637 average.
Hell yes, that's awesome. Quickest radial goes to Mr. Eric Birkevit, 2000 Camaro, the winner of Street Race 275 at 6 Summer, 536 on a 535 dial. It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Quickest gasser, our buddy Jay Grabiak in the 55 Chevy, 627 average.
Good job for Jay, man. That's awesome. Quickest hot rod, Mr. Zach Blousy, 23 Model T. Dude, love this thing. I hope you saw the video of them shoot just fire and flames off. I hope that thing had like 5 million views, man. Everybody needs a little bit of that in their life. 591 average for that dude. That car gets down. I can't imagine. It's the size of this table I'm sitting in front of.
Right? Quickest Beetle, Antonio Batista, 72 Volkswagen Beetle, 10:34 average.
Oh man, come on. That's fast for a Beetle, right? I mean, I don't know. To do that in a quarter, but
Yeah.
how about quickest big block, Mr. Joseph Giunta? 69 Chevelle, 661 average for him.
Nice. Quickest small block was Kevin Parton, 67 Nova with a 543 average.
Man, that car is so clean too. Quickest diesel, Mr. Dustin West, 01 Chevy 2500, 669, bro. That's fast out of something that weighs 7,000 pounds.
Yeah, no kidding. Quickest four-cylinder, Adam Helmer. This one was awesome. 2022 DF Goblin with an 822 average.
That is something that doesn't weigh 7,000 pounds.
It does not.
Probably weighs 1,700 pounds.
Yeah.
Quickest six-cylinder, Mr. Steve McNair, 16 Cadillac ATS-V, 739 average for him.
Our quickest NHRA Junior Street DYO Harrison Hurst and a 98 Mustang with a 0.022 spread.
That's insane. That is insane. Wow. Quickest motorcycle V-twin, Mr. Sean Clark, 2015 Harley Street Glide, 705 average for him.
And then quickest motorcycle 1000cc, Jim Clark, the 2014 Street Glide with a 701 average.
Nice. Michigan Miles Nostalgia, Mr. Zach Blousey. I would like to know more about that one. Derek, drop us a line in there. Tell us what Michigan Miles Nostalgia means.
Yeah. And then Michigan Mile Tourist was Jen Kraus. Again, not sure what that one was. And then for quickest AMC, there was no finishers for this one. So they had an honorable mention, which was William Reardon and a 69 AMC Rambler. Obviously didn't finish, so no average for him.
Nice. Well, hey, that's the way it goes. That's I think we had that happen one year in our hot rod class at the circuit, and it was like the first time we had nobody finish in a class, and so it was like last man standing kind of deal.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, congratulations to all the Michigan Miles racers and finishers. I mean, that's an event, 1,000 miles in the state of Michigan. That's absolutely insane. So it always makes you wonder, like, if you could hit the tracks in your state, how many miles would that be? Yeah, it wouldn't be 1,000 miles in Arkansas or Oklahoma for sure.
Yeah. Ranger 50TT here says the visitor was the Spirit of Michigan Miles with the blue helmet.
Oh, nice.
And Derek said nostalgia, new grouping category with period correct cars, lettering, etc. 15 cars.
Dude, that's awesome. Wow.
And then Cole says, Zach Blousey, can we roast marshmallows with your headers at 666?
Yes, we can. Yeah, I think that's definitely something we got to do. I don't know if I want to eat those, but man, that would be fun.
Right. All right. Well, we'll jump into our next results here for Dragway Rush. So a bunch of classes here. First one here, big tire, Nick Poirier with an 880 average.
Oh man, bring it on. That guy is fast. Hang on, let me go back to my notes here. Small tire, Mr. Kevin Harais, 11:19. These are all quarter mile times too.
Tiny tire was Rick Charters with an 1160 average.
Sorry, making notes here. Dude, 1160. Yeah, a little. We need to get some US folks up there showing what's going on. Heavy hitters, Mr. Jaron Balfour, 941. One of the quickest cars of the event.
Naturally aspirated was Norm Tannehill with a 1034 average.
Bring it on. Super Street, Mr. Paolo Silveria, 919 for Super Street.
Not bad. Modified was Jordan Classen with a 922 average.
And then all-wheel, which I think this may be one of the only events across the country that does an all-wheel drive class. Ben Henderson takes that with an 1125 average.
Then we've got a front wheel, which is Marcel Brosset with a 1210 average.
Nice. Leaf spring class, let's go. Tyler Cornish, 956, bro. That's fast.
Nice. Modern swap, I thought this one was kind of cool. West Dyke with a 1042 average.
Come on. Gear jammers, we love them stick shift racers. Mr. Benny Geisbrecht, 935 for that dude. I think that's like the third quickest of the event.
Yeah, out of a stick shift car. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The nostalgia class, Michael Hudson with a 1230 average.
Hell yes. Daily driver, Mitch, oh God, Miljanovic, 1177 average for that dude.
Hard tire, Aaron Ahuja with a 970 average.
Hey, Raj, any relation there? I mean, or is Ahuja kind of, it's like it's like a regular last name. Tailgaters, Pete Klassen, 1190 average.
This one I thought was interesting. Midnight on Marketplace. I'm assuming this is like a cheap car challenge type of class. This was Nick Sawyer, 14.57 average.
Yeah, I got to find out more about this class. Let's see
Yeah.
what the heck is up in that thing. Cycles class, that's John Dirksen, 1193 for him.
And then the final class here for Dragway Rush was the Outlaw class, which is 8th Mile Wes Hodgson with a 6.64 average, 6.641.
Nice. Yeah, that's a pretty quick class. I think as events get, further on, people begin to see they're going to stick around. People, they had great car count. I don't remember what the final car count was, but I mean, that's a lot of classes for people to fall under. So that should help people get there and all that stuff. So get up there and do that stuff, guys. Go support this event. What's really neat about Dragway Rush and Michigan Miles is they were I would say 200 miles apart, something like that. So obviously one over in the edge of Canada and one there in the state of Michigan. So pretty cool to have that many cars in the same area. It's probably 400 cars that are cruising around on the highways and byways. They're doing some drag and drive stuff.
Yeah. Raj says, no relation that I know of.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, we'll jump to our last event here to go through is the Cruise and Lose. So this one here didn't have as many classes, but there's some interesting stats here. I actually put these in here because I know you like to get nerdy with some of this stuff. So the first one here is the 8.5 class, which was Evan Heilman with an 8.519.
Nice.
So the top 9 finishers in this class had an 8.5 something.
Damn, dude, that's crazy.
So it was 8.519, 8.53, 8.534, 8.543, 8.55, 8.5595.
Damn. Hang on just a second. I want to do the math on this. So if I take 850 times 1.545 is what we typically use. I mean, that's a 13-second car. Like, damn, 850 index racing is highly competitive.
Jan says, still a loser.
Dang it. 750 index, Mr. Luke Cartwright takes that one home with a 7.5065. And then love the notes here. Top 10 in that class, 750 with or 7.5 with an X. Like these, all these cars had. So top 10. So top 5 here, you got 7.506 for Luke. You got 7.521, 7.523. So 2,000, 7.53 with a 4 and 7.53 with a 7. So 3,000 separated 3 and 4. And then, 4 and 5, and then 2 and 3 separated by 2,000s.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
as I was looking through these, there was a lot of positions as you worked through those top 10 that were actually pretty close. Like I think at one point I saw there was 2 racers that were tied with the exact same average even.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that at the circuit and had to go up and get like to the 5th digit, I think, from the tower. So
yeah,
pretty incredible.
The 650 class was won by Bill Mass with a 6.508. And in this class, the top 6 had a 650 something. So the 6.508, 6.511, 6.516, and a 6.518.
Wow. Dude, that's incredibly tight.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, like, how do you get people that excited to watch index racing. You know what I mean? Like we're looking at numbers afterwards and stuff like that, but like that's incredibly tight.
Yeah.
Wow. Unlimited class, Mr. Mark Grote, dude. I love this guy. He raced the Gremlin for a long time now, has a Fox Body Mustang. 539 to take the unlimited class win. And my drag and drive daddy, Mr. Dustin Peterson, out there, 563 for second place. And Corey Petska in third. Cruise and Lose, unlimited class, 576. So
not too bad there.
Heck of a lot of good events there. That's an event in Michigan, an event in the edge of Canada there around Toronto, and then over in Nebraska. So, man, everywhere. They're going on everywhere.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that was our J-Wire kind of recap there of some events that just happened. Perfect timing to get all of those results to be able to cover those tonight. So appreciate all those promoters for getting that stuff out there for us so we could cover it.
Yeah, appreciate those guys a whole bunch. Well, let's move on to some Molly Motorsport stuff, and then we're going to talk to Mr. Brian Lohnes. See if I can get this. I should have had this.
Looking for a forged piston kit for your vehicle? You need Molly Motorsport Power Pack. What is Power Pack? It's the ultimate forged piston kit that comes complete with pistons, performance file fit rings, hot string steel pins, and clips, all engineered to work together. So all you have to do is build something great. Find your Power Pack at mollymotorsport.com.
Man, and like we said last week, George Wright will be on site. He will be running the booth for Molly. Not bringing the Duster this year, sadly, which probably means he's getting upgrades to it. So we'll go ahead and let that slide this one time. But excited to see him and hang out a little bit and kind of, get his experience, I guess, from there. So, all right. Well, this is going to be a fun conversation. So if you guys don't know who Brian Lohnes is, he's kind of a big deal. And I'm really excited about this because I think sometimes he's probably nerdier than I am, but he's nerdy with like all the cool stuff. Like he does a lot of really neat stuff. So you guys know we're going to go ahead and bring him on. Mr. Brian Lohnes.
What's up, guys?
I'm excited about this, man. This is going to be fun.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to come on, and certainly looking forward to what's going to be a really busy fall, which is the way we always like it around here. So that's cool.
Yeah. Is it weird for you sometimes to do like the NHRA stuff? I'm sure you probably arrive Wednesday night, Thursday morning, something like that. But is it weird to be on? Well, I guess you're not on site all week. To do like drag week, to be at so many different places and not have like a normal layout.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun of it. I think it's the fun of it for everybody. I think that constant movement, that idea. I mean, the first one in 2005, that was like a revelation. No one. It was my most favorite part of the event, and at that point, like when I was ordering for Comp Plus, like I didn't have anything booked. I just drove into whatever city and found a place to stay and whatever. And there was only like 40 of us on the whole deal. But no, I think that's the fun. The fun of it is knowing that you're going to a new place tonight, you're going to a new place tomorrow night, you're going to a new place the night after that. So it's cool. I see it both ways. Like when the U.S. Nationals is next week. So that's kind of the opposite. Like I'll go to Indy on Tuesday and I'll be there until Monday. And, there's a comfort in kind of getting into your daily routine, right? You know what time you're waking up, you know which way you're going to the racetrack, but the whole pack it up and leave every day on drag week is definitely the fun part.
Yeah, I really enjoy that part. Now, we were joking earlier about the Havlicks deal. It's so weird to be in one spot, like we camped, which was a first really for us to do a whole bunch of that. And it was really weird to like be done racing and like, okay, now let's just go hang out and do.
Yeah, now we can just relax. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about
relax. We didn't.
How it goes. You're like making notes, do all this stuff, but it's pretty awesome to be there and be like that. Well, that was my first question. How many years is this for you to announce Drag Week?
I was trying to figure that out, and I was there. I think the first one of these I announced, I want to say was somewhere in like the 09 or 10 time frame. And, I missed a couple of years here or there, but I think I want to say I've done at least 10 or 12 of them. Somewhere in that range, but yeah, somewhere in that range. I think the best thing I could say is I've done the majority of them. I don't know how much of that majority, but I've done more than half.
Dude, that's awesome. You've seen some stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that was the neat thing about getting my mind right for coming on the show tonight and just going back through and thinking about some of those moments and some of the things. And it was great. You had Larry on and the clips. I actually went back and found that Hot Rod Unlimited video that we did. I think it was in 2013 where, we went to the shop. I think had just started on the truck. He was building Tom McGilton's car. I remember that specifically. He had just gotten Tom McGilton's car, the Camaro in there, and it had 36 miles. It was a brand new ZL1 that he had started to cut up. And, he was telling me how, listen, the touchscreen's going to work, the power window's going to work, the remote trunk latch is going to work. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, okay, of course it is. And it turns out, of course, that's been one of the most, enduring drag and drive cars I think anybody's ever had. But yeah, and that was, that was the kind of thing I said to him at the time. It's like, no one's going to run fives, right? And I think of it now, and it's like, I don't regret saying that because it's still, to me today, is an awe-inspiring thing to see guys attempt this. So it was, to me at the time, it was like, and that was 13 years ago. It was like, this is not even like, why are we even bothering to have this conversation? But here we are.
Well, and you start looking at 13 years ago. We're going to cover some of these fastest 100 stuff and all that. Sure. But like the let me see where the notes I have here. Hang on, just a second. I'm almost there. Because when you start thinking like, let's say 2012, right?
Yeah.
You look at, there were no 6-second passes in 2012. There's one 6-second average. There's one 6-second average in 13.
Yeah.
You're not off, dude. Like,
well, no, and it was at the time, I think he had just run, I think that year, whatever year, he had just run like 694 when he went 694 at, which was at Muncie Dragway, which, I think you guys have been to Muncie Dragway. It's a cool place. It's a cool place, but it's not 3,000 pounds, 694 type of cool place at night. But he did it there. And to your point, it's like, we kind of were in this lull or in this moment where it's like, guys are going to dip into the 6s here and there, run 7.0s, but that was not the case.
No, definitely not. And I love it when engineering minds get involved in this. And like, I think we've seen that push, the last 20 years, you've got companies that are hiring that would typically be only OEM would hire that kind of engineer. Now we're getting that in regular automotive applications. So these companies are pushing the limits of everything. How many people are building like dedicated drag and drive billet engines that can go that kind of time? There's four.
To your point, the fact now that there are literally multiple manufacturers that you can go to buy a water jacketed billet block that only exists for this purpose, right? There's really no other use for that. You don't need it in a tractor pulling application. You don't need it in a full-on drag racing application. The only reason that water block exists is for this. And that in and unto itself is insane. I think, and not to discount anybody else, but one of the most brilliant guys I think I ever met at Drag Week, the Swedes, when they had the Escoda over here, and the guy that owned that car and that did the engine tuning on it, he was the lead calibrator for Koenigsegg. He was the lead engine calibrator for Koenigsegg. And it's like, and he's over here dicking around with this big block Chevy and this Escoda trying to get it to go however quick it was. And I just thought it was the greatest thing in the world because that guy was a legitimate, globally respected engine guy. It's crazy.
Wow. How cool.
Well, seeing that you are Freiberger's life coach, is he going to be announcing with you?
Yes, he will. Yeah, he's gonna be there. He's currently on a road trip. His son Jimmy's starting college, and they're on a road trip to get him dropped off for his first semester of freshman year. So, Dave and I are looking forward to it. We're all we've been talking. We talk every day, I guess, but we've been talking about Drag Week probably more than we have in the past. So, it's good. We're both excited.
That's awesome. Will any of these tracks be new for you this year?
No new ones, but I do think we're going to be able to dip off the route a couple of days and hit some tracks that neither of us have been to. We try to do that. We've done that historically where it's like you look at where we're going and then you see if there's places within 20 or 30 miles that you can dive off and just, plant your flag on the ground to say you've been there. I went to Iceland earlier this summer and went to the 2 drag strips up there, and I think they are actually going to do a drag and drive there. And it's funny, there's 2 drag strips there. There's one in the southern part of the country and one up in the north. And it's about a 400 kilometer drive between the 2 of them. And I visited the track outside of Reykjavik, and they knew David and everything, and those guys had all been to national events. They'd all been to the World Series of Pro Mod. They all knew about Drag Week and everything. And so I talked to all them. And as I was there, I was meeting these guys, and the dude comes rolling in like a 63 Nova with a 632 in it. Like, dudes are rolling in some pretty hardcore, like heavy duty street cars. So then we got to the second track, and I was driving around with a guy who showed me around town. I said, "Have you guys ever done like a drag and drive event?" Because one of their racers was actually gone to do the Street Week, I guess it's called. Is it Street Week? Yeah. So she and her husband run a Street Week, and I'm not saying that I made this happen, but I was like, "You guys got to get on the phone and figure this out." And they're like, "Yeah." And so by the time I was done, they had texted each other. They were going to try to find a weekend in September that they could do an Iceland drag and drive. Yeah, so that was kind of cool. Yeah,
that's awesome, because like 400 kilometers, 240 miles, that's a normal drive day for Drag Week and most of the big events.
No, it's a real deal. And if they went the long way, and you could kind of split it two ways because they're both kind of on the western half of the country. If you went the long way, that would be a real deal, like couple day drive.
How cool, man! Love a drive day in the middle of that, and then you do the short side to get back. Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
It'd be kind of neat. Yeah,
right. Be like Alaska Speed Week, where it's like it's a 3-day race, but it's 7 days.
Yes.
We'll have to keep our eye out for that one and see if it actually happens.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. I've kept in contact with those guys up there, like their Instagram and stuff. So I will keep you guys apprised of that situation. Yeah, it's an awesome place and great people.
Oh, I can only imagine. Well, let's stay on Drag Week announcing for just a second. Then we're going to get to some fun fast car stuff. So, what's the best way for people to get information to you? Do we just write it on the back glass of the car? Is that what we do?
Yeah, I guess, if typically people have somebody with them. So if you have your co-driver, your trunk monkey, however you describe this person, jot some notes down and just have them run up to the tower. Like, where we're at, like just bring it up. And the best thing for me this year that I'm literally the most excited about is it has been probably 7 or 8 years since I've been able to go to Tech Day. I have not been, because I've always been finishing an NHRA race and then flying Sunday night to get there for Monday morning. So I'm actually going to get in on Saturday, going to be there for the entirety of Tech Day, be able to walk the tech lines, actually have good conversations with people. So I'm super jacked up about that. But yeah, I mean, if we continue to mispronounce your name or make some sort of egregious mistake, write that on the back window, because we get to live that humiliation. You get to deliver that one to us. So like if your name is Smythe and we keep saying Smith, it's Smythe, you idiots, on the back window. That always plays well to the audience. But, if there's stuff about your car that you want us to know, or some family history or something like that, just, bring it up, run it up to the tower on a little piece of paper. We'll have it for the rest of the week.
Yeah, that's awesome. Name and car number, probably two of the best way. That's some info you got to have on there. Don't just put Jimmy.
Yes.
Father bought car new. No idea who that is.
Yeah, the red Camaro. I've owned it since I was 12 years old. It's like, well, there's 50 red Camaros, pal. Which, is everybody a 12-year-old Camaro owner here? Like, who is it? Yeah,
exactly. Okay, last one. Over under on how many people ask if Cletus has run yet?
Oh man, I feel like that's probably one guy that has multiple personalities. I think that's one weirder than all of us person that just continue to incessantly post that. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm saying one.
Yeah. Well, I announce at Heads Up Hustle, and I just want to say thank you for all the insight, all the cool stuff you give all of us announcers across the world. Pretty cool. And I've messaged you a few times asking how to save my voice. But do you have is there like a Brian Lohnes Drag Week notepad? Like, how do you collect all that stuff and have that throughout the years? I mean, because it's just incredible. I know your brain is big.
Yeah.
How do you keep up with all that?
So I have a document that I started. I started this document in 2005 when I went on the first one. I got back and wrote down, and then from every year forward, I've written down the racetracks, the track history, even the races I wasn't there, who won, what averages were and stuff like that. So it is the most old man Neanderthal way to do it. And it's something that I could never convert into any usable table. Like you guys have done a modern, awesome job collating information. I literally have written a book for myself, and I will be buried with it. And that is how I do it. But yeah,
no way.
But that is
yeah, you're going to be the guy that we're going to get the box truck when you pass, and we're going to go get your.
Oh, I'll tell you what, and to tell you how ancient this is a .txt document.
Oh, Lordy.
It's written in notes. So yeah, I mean, but it's almost, I mean, for me, my own process, if I write things down, I typically am able to commit them to memory to some degree. So that's really helped. And I take that thing out, and my preparation for the U.S. Nationals runs from, when I got home from Brainerd, will run right up until I leave. And then honestly, at the race, my work there is already done. Like I've done the notes I need to do. And so when I'm at Indy at night is when I really kind of dive into the drag week stuff to a degree, and get going on that. So when I leave Indy, I'm kind of full force into making sure I'm all squared away for drag week.
How cool, man.
Yeah.
Flipping through your notes there.
Yes, that really is a part of the process. I make sure everything's updated, and I kind of just scan that thing and read that thing every year. And I take a lot of time to cross-reference off of the entry list and just kind of look at where people are at and what they're bringing and that type of thing.
Destroyer 1320 says, Brian still using the dancing paperclip?
Listen, I have a green screen. Like my screen has a green cursor on it. It's an Apple II GS that I'm using. No, I don't know.
There's a group of people that have no idea what that comment even means.
That's true. That's like I said, I am an ancient person. I'm an elder. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, so I know that you keep up with some of the stuff we do, but I have been running like a fastest 100 list.
Yes.
The beginning, right? Well, I had stopped at 2015 simply because one, workload, but then two, that's when the second event came about, right? So we had Drag Week till 2014 and then Rocky Mountain in 15. So I felt like if we're going to do one, that's when things kicked off, right? Well, today I went in and somebody, Brian Anders, had made a post in one of the Drag Week groups about the spread between this quickest to the 100 quickest. And so I was like, I'll go ahead and finish these lists. And I did that. It was easy. I mean, I have Billy Gephardt stuff. Thank God for the Gephardt family and
amazing,
all the
right?
stuff they've provided. He's such an awesome dude to do what he's done. It's so hard to take this data and figure out what to do with it. One, but then two, you got to really get into the mind of how he did. He has spreadsheet upon spreadsheet upon spreadsheet that nobody would ever want to even look through, right? But I love that kind of stuff, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
So I went back and I did all of them. So we have on the website dragdriverpete.com. You can go in there and look at 2005 to 2025 fastest 100. So I went in and I grabbed some stuff for us to talk about because I know you kind of enjoy this stuff a little bit too.
Sure.
So the first question that came to my mind was, who's been on this list the most, right? This is the fastest. This is unique racers. We only Bryant Goldstone is a great example. In one year, he did 4 events, right? But I only took his fastest. So it's 100 unique racers. These are all of it, right? But how about this name that I think will surprise you? The quickest and the most on this list, 21 years. This name appeared the most, and it has the quickest average. Mr. James McIntyre, 13 times.
Yeah, Doc. I mean, that's incredible. And the cool thing about you saying that and not making me guess is that I would not have guessed Doc's name. And that's probably the most interesting part. I mean, that guy, he and Jeff and what they've done. I remember when they first brought that Goodwin Hemi out, that Goodwin engine was like a revelation, a big 700 plus inch motor. And they had success with it really right off the rip. And that's super cool. I mean, and he's done it all in the same car, which I think is a killer part of that story too. Yeah.
Yep. And then the other person in that list made sense to me once I started looking, but Mr. Clark Rosenstengel, love that guy. 3 different cars. He's on there 13 times as well. Both of those guys started in 06. I mean, and this is the fastest car. This is the fastest guys, right? His average, Doc McIntyre, 880 average across all 13 events. I mean, that's next level shit. And then 943 for Clark across all 13
Wow.
events.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, the ability to average sub 10 to me is, obviously we have cars that run Tom's been on the 5s, but to have that level of sustainability and to have a sub 10 second average is ridiculous.
Right. So just nerdy stuff here. Again, we got Bryant Goldstone, Larry Larson, and Alex Taylor, all with 11 times on the fastest 100. How about Goldstone's 734 average? 11 events, dude. That's insane.
Yeah, that really is impressive.
Yeah. Alex has run there 11 times from 2014 to 2025. So in 12 years, she's made the fastest 100 list 11 times.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a testament, obviously a testament to just the way that she works, the way her family works. I mean, the level of care and honestly, the level of skill that they bring to the table in this stuff is very, very high. And they've learned the hard lessons the hard way. And they don't make the same mistake twice. I mean, that's one of the neat things about the Taylor family to me is hardcore racers to the absolute core. They push themselves. I think they're going faster. I don't know if they've ever admit this out loud, but I think they're going faster than they ever dreamed they'd go in that car. And I think there's probably still more yet to go. And, they've had their fair share of issues like every racer does, and they've figured out ways to work around them and work through them. And you have to respect people that, I respect people that have longevity in this stuff and really in any aspect of drag racing, because it requires an incredible amount of commitment. Like the performances are one thing, but the idea that you can continue to do it year after year, that's the really impressive part.
And not go, oh, look at these boats. Those are cool.
Yeah.
Or, hey, there's horses out there. Have you heard of golf?
Right. No, 100%.
Preoccupied with anything else. Pretty cool.
I think if you go back, not to totally interrupt your point, but this brings up, so in 2005, we had a really interesting situation that happened with what was then known as the daily driver class, which was we had a tie. Like we had a tie to the 1,000th of a second in daily driver. And, I wasn't involved at the event at that time. And this was for the win. This wasn't just anything. This was a tie for the win. And it was between two guys. It's a guy named Brian Corrigan and a guy named Tom Foglin. And Corrigan, I forget what he was driving. Foglin had a really cool like G-body, like Monte Carlo SS. And they were running, I think they were running 12s. Anyway, there was no provision in the rules to break a tie because there was no rules and no one had done this before. And so the best, there was like this conference in a room. People were like, what do you think we should do? I'm like, well, every other tie in drag racing gets broken on speed. And so like one dude was averaging like 121.5. The other guy was averaging like 121.0. And Foglin ended up losing. Brian Corrigan got the win, and I think Tom was so pissed he never came back. But it was like the OG, like one of the original Drag Week controversies. But we had a tie to the 1,000th at Daily Driver for the win, which is wild.
Oh, cool. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to bring Mike Galimi on too. He's back.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Be fun.
Yeah.
All right. This is a little earlier than what we had planned for, but.
Well.
I think this will be fun. Yeah. So you guys know each other, obviously. You guys
a little bit
time together over the years.
Maybe.
For everybody that doesn't know who Mike is, he's kind of a big deal too. So this will be fun. Mike, obviously, we're talking about fastest 100 stuff and kind of some nerdy fun stuff. Let me run through these last names real quick. Randy Bellahar, 11-time fastest 100 list maker. Mike Roy, 10-time, same Monte Carlo the entire time. Super cool. 2006 to 2016. And then 10-time list makers, Kurt Johnson, we know that name. Jason Tabscott, big dude. Dale Gebhardt, big shout out to Dale. Tom Franks and Tom Taylor, 10 times each for all of those guys as well. So pretty cool. And especially being that they're unique to the list, right? So it's their best finish created this list, right? So it wasn't like somebody on there more than once. So I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah, no, it's great. And again, it's a testament to ability and dedication. That's for sure. 100%.
Yeah. And to be, you think 21 years, you make it half the time. That's pretty badass. So I wanted to find out who topped the list the most. Okay. Thought this was pretty fun. So in 21 years of fastest 100 list, Tom Bailey and Larry Larson have both done 5 years each. Fans all know, right? And probably knew that. Larson's, I didn't know this for some reason, but 5 years in a row, 2008 to 2012, like just completely destroyed the competition. Wow.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the finishing run, the 5 wins in a row is one thing, and the fact that he, has finished everyone he ever started, right? I think that's the other one that's just insane.
Yeah, pretty incredible. And then Bailey, 2013, 2015, 2018, 2019, and 2022. So, spread it in there. And then Lutz and Schroeder both have 2 outright, quickest of the year. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
I mean, Lutz's 2016 was quickest until last year overall,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and Mike and I were talking about this the other day. He's working on some content stuff, and it's like I still find that to be, and this takes nothing away from what Ned Dunphy did last year or Tom Bailey's 599 run. I think to this point in Drag and Drive genre history, that 2016 week that Jeff Lutz had is the single most impressive thing anybody's ever done.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
It lowered
incredible.
it so
And to hold
much.
it that long. Yeah.
It lowered it tremendously. Like I think Tom the year before had a 635 run, but he had like a 658 average.
Yeah.
And then Lutz comes in and just drops the thing all the way down. That was wild. That was actually my first drag week ever. Was 2016, wow. And that was fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a good time.
For that thing to stay, for that thing to stay so long, that just proves how hard it is at the very top.
Yeah. And look, Ned will probably disagree, but they made it look easy last year.
Yes,
that was the other shocker, and he nudged the record a little bit more. After 9 years, but one night we wanted to do a bunch of parking lot photography under the lights, and I'm like texting Ned. I'm like, hey man, we're about 20 minutes, 30 minutes out from the hotel. Where are you guys staying? We want to pop in and get some photos. He's like, oh man, we're already showered and in bed.
What?
It was like 9:15.
Yeah. Take it when you can get it, right?
Yeah. So, man. But there have been some epic runs for sure.
Yeah, and this year I think we're gonna. I don't know if it's good for that number to finally fall, or if we can ride. Can somebody in with like a 604, 608, 613? If they're going to break the record, like, do you just hammer it all the way, or does it help build momentum?
If you look at it, it's always gone down in big chunks.
Yeah. When it goes pretty hard.
Yeah.
Which speaks to the idea, and I think that speaks to the idea that guys run their stuff hard, and it speaks to the idea that not a lot of people are showing up looking at that number saying, okay, I'm going to try to run 616 every day. Guys like Ned, guys like Larry this year, guys like whoever's rolling in there with a heavy iron, they're going to run it as hard as it'll go. And then maybe Thursday, if they're looking real sitting pretty, they can dial the thing back just to be safe. But the first couple of days, they're gonna let it eat.
Well, I think we've seen the interesting part. Yeah, the interesting part is they want to, not just a 5 second average. They want to run, all these guys are saying the same thing. We want to run fives every day.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's one thing to dip in, flirt with it. Like you said, you could probably still get the 5 second average and still have a 6 second day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But they want to run fives every day. Right. They're all adamant. Every one of them is adamant about that.
Yeah. KJ here saying I say flirt with it. Crush it to the O's and have us waiting another year.
I don't hate it. I mean, I don't hate it for the storyline. I don't hate it for the evolution of the thing. And I'm not putting my foot in my mouth to tell you that the percentage chance of it happening is pretty low. I mean, we're all going to look for it. We're all going to some degree, have our fingers crossed. But let's be honest, that there's been the capability of this to happen now for 8-9 years. There's been equipment showing up that's capable of doing it for 8 or 9 years. It hasn't happened yet. We're still, in drag racing parlance, we're still a long way away from there at 617. So who knows?
Well, and I think we've only ever had one 5 second run.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the point I was going to make. Yeah, there's only been one, and it just squeaked in there at 599 with like an 8.
Yes.
Yeah, that's incredible to me. It's and I don't know what the right answer is. I just hope that we're standing there when it happens. Either way.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think of like a 630 average and be happy at that.
Yeah. I mean, the right answer is always, you want to, everyone to be safe and finish the week, right? I think then, and whatever happens after that, it's it's just the luck of the draw.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean the thing, and you guys have done more of this than anybody, but in my my drag week experiences, you leave Monday with a big idea about how this is going to play out to a degree, and I fall in this trap every year because I only do one of these a year. You guys are battle hard and you don't fall into these traps that I do, but you leave Monday and you're like, okay, I've seen enough drag racing in my life. This is how this is going to go the rest of the week. And by noontime on Tuesday, that is just blown to smithereens and everything's changed by then. So I need to train myself not to do that.
Yeah, the top 8 guys have 2 of them have put a new cylinder head in, and 1 guy's put a rear end in it. You're like, holy crap, you made it 30 miles.
Yeah.
That just proves how hard it is. Couple things, and then I'll let Eric tell us about this last part. But I thought this was interesting. 894 unique racers on the top 100 list. Thought that was fun. But how about this one? 490 of them just one time. Like the one time blows my mind all the time because Jonathan Stonecipher, the reason I'm in this at all, he says people are a forever or never. You're either going to do this until you die or you're never coming back because you hated it. 490 people one time. That's pretty, it just seems wild to me. So that's 25% roughly of the fastest 100 lists have never been back.
I mean, I respect that dude's opinion, but I completely disagree with it. I mean, the reality of the situation is this is an aspirational thing for a lot of people to do. And when they check the box, they've checked the box, and they got the window banner, and thank God for them. That's 490 people that we would have never seen or that would have not helped this whole thing grow forward. And I think the reality of the situation is we need as many of the one and done people as we do the 11 time people, because it does keep a degree of freshness in the whole program.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I never thought about that because like for a lot of guys, it is the competition side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's like guys, that join the guys that race the bracket points at their local racetrack. They want to race 10 times a year. They want to see their buddies every weekend. They want to go up there, and that's what they want to do with their summer, versus a guy that wants to run Test and 2 night once, twice a year just to go up and have fun at the drag strip. I think people fall into those different categories.
Yeah, I think the longer you do this too, right? Like, so 21 years, it starts to become a bucket list item, right? And especially that there's only 400 spots to get in.
Yeah.
Right. So, once a bucket list is like, oh, I did that, done, been there, done that, and conquered that mountain, on to the next thing. And then also I think changing areas also dictates how many times people do it, right? If we only visit an area, maybe that, they're not capable of, driving cross country or going to where it is.
Yeah, that's what I do like about Drag Week, and that's one thing I haven't been collecting is the tracks that these are run at. So I've got to go back through and add all of that to my.
I've got the document that Freiberger kept and passed it along when I came in.
Hey, who kept it? Who kept it? Where do you think he got it, Chief? Where do you think? I was just telling these guys. I was telling these guys about my old man document. I literally told the story about that decrepit thing that I've kept all these years. So yeah, that's. But hey, it works.
It's in two different clouds too, backed up, not just natively on my laptop. So if I were to ever have an untimely death, at least it's not lost forever. But yeah, I mean, it's getting harder and harder. As we look at 2027, it's Route 66 is new, right? But I think that's I don't think they're going to be opening anytime soon full time. So
yeah,
who knows when we'll get back over there. But it is fun to go to new tracks and visit new places. As Brian knows, he's a big track visit guy.
Yeah. I've started a Google Maps of the tracks I've been to. Different pins or different pin colors for different years, just so I can go back when I'm an old man and go, yeah, see, I was there.
I was there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yellow Marks on Nitrous Life. Whew, man. Poor guys. Don't know why they do that to themselves.
Well, some more interesting stuff here. Beginning in 2012, you needed to have a 12-second average to make that top 100 list. By 2013, that was down to an 11-second average. 2015 was a 10-second average. And then it was all the way till 2021 when it got down to a 9-second average.
Wow.
Yeah. So pretty wild. 2022 was an 8-second average. And then in 2025, it was still an 8. 47 out of the 67 were 850 or slower. And the bump spot was an 874.
Sheesh. Yeah, I mean, look, Mike will tell you this, and I think you guys see it too. I mean, that 850 car, that 850 class, however you call it, whatever you call it, your particular event, that's still the sweet spot for this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
It's the most entertaining. It is the most entertaining stuff of the whole week. the big numbers. And listen, I'm not saying the unlimited cars aren't entertaining. I love the hell out of it, but watching these guys run down and run 50 with a 0 or 50 with a 2 and come back to try to win 50 with a 0, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think somebody ran a 50 with a 6 last year and then came back up. I think it was Jay and Brian. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Sorry, how's your numbers on the table?
It is the hardest class in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just because you have to manage the power, manage the track, and then you have to take it out to that third digit.
Yeah,
and it's so challenging, and and do it as little as possible because you don't want to beat your equipment up because you still got a whole week of racing left. And driving. Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you guys this, because with all the nerdy stuff I was doing today, it made me think, is these top 100 lists we've talked about are unique racers, so their best pass or their best average of the year is what creates these lists, right? Should that be like Bryant Goldstone? Should he be on the fastest 100 2025 list 3 times? And called.
I mean, well, to me, it depends on what you're trying to do. Like, for instance, to compare it against NHRA statistics, like if we look at the top 10 runs, like we look at the top 10 runs of all time a lot, and especially the last couple of years of speed and top fuel. I mean, if you're going by runs, then the person appears however many times they have made runs in the top 10 fastest runs, they appear that many times. I mean, I don't necessarily feel like it's a bad thing to have a guy who's, I see it both ways. I also feel like you should look at somebody's best performance, and that locks them into a spot on the list. It simplifies it.
I think on Goldstone's case, he had 2 cars, right? And I think 2 different cars should get you 2 different spots on that list because it is different.
Yeah, man, that's a good point too. Yeah, it's not hard to create new lists. It's just, man, it just becomes really difficult when new people are coming in and they're looking for those kind of interesting stats, and they just get overwhelmed with like, well, why is this list this and this list that, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to mess around with that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, if you would have to keep delineating either which car was on the list or which event of runs were made at. It's just kind of adding more layers to it, I guess.
Yeah. Pretty interesting. I thought it was really crazy though when 874 is the bump spot for this year. That's pretty wild.
Makes it sound like everybody's got an 8-second car, right? But in reality, it's such a small percentage of who actually street cars that hit the drag strip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think if we did the numbers right, and I mean, this is just off the top of my head, but I think there's like 900 or 1,000 like unique racers that raced in 2025. So you start saying 42 of 67 or whatever that number was, like, yes, that's a big grouping, and that's what we talk about a lot because I love 850 cars. But like, dang, that's still such a very small number of what the actual number is. Okay, Eric, let's move on to the Deech Work stuff. Oh no, sorry, real quick, I want to go through this because another thing with this list, I grabbed these. So it took until 2013 to get a 6-second average, and then there were 11 6-second racers in 2025. Thought that was pretty wild. But what's really interesting to me is the number of 7-second cars in relation to that 2023 number, 2024 number. Like, we go from 36 in 2023, 30 in 2024. We drop to 2022 or to 22 cars, but the 6-second stuff goes up. So like, now, you know how it goes. Now you got to get real nerdy and figure out, man, did the 7-second guys just get faster? Like Nick and David Deal, did they just get faster and move up? So
yeah.
Where do you stop, guys? I need help.
Can you guys probably can, but I don't know if the audience, if they're real history geeks, who can name those 3 guys with 8-second averages from 2005?
Oh man. Yeah.
You mean 6-second average? Oh no. Oh, 2005. I'm sorry.
05.
I thought you said 25.
It'd be cheating if I said it because I looked today. I think I only need
like
2 of them.
Larson.
1.
You'll
get 2, but you won't get the 3rd, I bet.
The dude that won it all, the honey badger.
Carl Scott.
And I feel like, why is some Mike Roy stick out in my head? I don't know why that name does.
Cooper Cooper was the second guy with the purple. It was ironic that year we had 3 Novas, right? Carl Scott was in a red Nova. Cooper was in a purple Nova, and Larry was in the pink Nova. Those are the 3. Those are the 3 8-second cars on Drag Week that year. But yeah, those are the OGs, man. Those are the OGs.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, to think that Novas took it that year is pretty cool too. I had not put that together.
Yeah, all 3 of them.
Wow.
I love the fact that it wasn't the circular route, right? Like they had to drive
one-way trip. One-way trip
from Michigan to Kansas.
Yeah, there was a degree of when it was over. There was literally a degree of like, okay, so now what do we do? Like, what happens now? It's like, I don't know. That's your problem.
Yeah.
Turn it around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how many people drove it back.
I think Charlie Cooper drove it back. I know some guys that came from the West Coast had a truck to, haul their stuff back out there. I'm pretty sure Charlie Cooper drove it back. Cooper actually had 2 cars at that event. He actually had a second Nova that was almost identical. It was just slower. His buddy drove that car, and it was not a, support vehicle. This was too early. Nobody even thought of a freaking support vehicle in 2005. It was just another car that his crazy buddy was driving. But yeah, a few of those guys just loaded up, and Larry drove back to to Kansas City, and some of those guys just drove home. Yeah,
man, that's
and
crazy.
a lot of guys drove to that first event. I think that's one of the things that gets lost about 05 as well. Like the vast majority of people that competed in 2005 did drive to the event. They did not tow their stuff because it was a one-way trip. Most of the guys looked around and thought to themselves, well, this is going to be a real shit show if I got to get all the way back here and my stuff's blown up. So they just drove the cars.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a great point, because like you might as well, because you're going to be hauling that thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, Larry was talking about kind of getting that OG car back out and doing some drag and drive stuff. He's like, man, smaller events, weekend stuff, maybe more, or longer events. He's talking about doing the Great American Detour, New York to LA deal. He's like, man,
okay,
run that thing would be way more fun than the S10.
He is such a pragmatic racer. He could have pretty easily won the first drag week. Like, we all learned that on Friday when he went out and ran 8:38, which was low ET the entire week by a crap ton. And he put, he swapped the pulleys on the thing, and it was almost like making a point where, Carl Scott had a great week. I think he averaged 850 or somewhere in there. But, Larry rolled out there, swapped the pulleys, and was like, oh, you guys want to see how fast this thing can actually go? And everyone was like, what the F? But the guy is such a pragmatic racer. This was a test run. And I don't know if you talked about that, but he always told me that 05 was like a test run to feel this whole thing out. And he wanted to finish it and be done with it. And then it was like, okay, now I know how to kick some ass. And he went on his run and just dominated.
Yeah, that's awesome. To answer Hooterville Hero there, says, where is this 100 list? It's on dragdriverpete.com. You can find it over there. And we've got every fastest 100 from 2005 to 2025. So that consumed most of my day. Okay, let's move on to some Detroit stuff. And then I want to, we asked folks to give us questions to ask to Brian, but I think some of these will also work with Mike. So let me jump in here. I'll play this.
From street miles to track passes, your fuel system has one job: perform when it matters most. At D-Torx, we engineer high-performance fuel systems built for the demands of drag and drives. From injectors and fuel pumps to filters and regulators, every component is engineered to be reliable and consistent under real-world conditions. Whether you're chasing a personal best or driving hundreds of miles between tracks, D-Torx delivers the fuel system your build requires.
Again, big shout out to Detroit and all the stuff they do for us, and they're title sponsors of our short circuit event, which happens at George Ray's November 6th and 7th, which coincides with the end of SEMA. I know I didn't catch that, but have either of you guys been to George Ray's before?
Years ago, when I was still a productive member of society, and I had a real job, I actually had to go. I was like 3.5 hours away for a work deal, and I finished the work deal and just flat-footed to go see that place because I'd always wanted to see it. So I have seen it. Never there for a race, though.
That's awesome. Mike?
Nope, never been there.
Oh, man. It's a cool spot, and it's probably exactly the same, Brian.
Yes, I think the last photo I saw, I think they replaced the telephone pole tower with with 4x4 lumber instead of the old cut up telephone poles, but it's still the crossover deal. I mean, what a killer killer track. And I love the fact that the family's still operating it. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be really fun to, I don't know how many cars that track gets, but I wouldn't imagine it's 150 on a Friday and Saturday night. So we're bringing them, and they better be ready because we're going to have a good time. So it's going to be really cool.
That's great, man.
Yeah, I'm working on a huge cotton gin that's in the area. It's like one of the largest cotton producing gins in that part of the country. And so I want them to give us tours and do my breakfast and all that kind of stuff there. So I'm really excited about that trip. It's going to be really fun. But let's move on. Let's ask some questions here. So Mike Chenoweth had a question. Has anyone attended every drag week so far with a car entered without missing a single one since 2005? And just to answer that, no. Unless think some co-pilot stuff.
I believe the only guy that was in the running for that, and I think he has only missed one of them, was Tom Hogshead. I think Tom Hogshead has been at every single drag week but one in that, and I believe it's always been in that blue, like 74, 75 Nova that he's had. I'll never forget that car in 05 because it was like one of the first home-built turbo cars I'd ever seen. It was one of the first, like, build it in the garage, like not fancy pants, anything, like just regular guy making this work cars with twin turbos on it that I'd ever seen. And I want to say he's been to every single one but one, and I think he's the lone wolf in that.
Yeah, I don't have co-pilot info, which, man, I wish I had a way to gather that. That would be really cool to see because,
listen, at some point, man, you just turn into a stalker. You know what I mean? So you don't need
That's
that.
my problem. I'm like, I don't I'm like messaging everybody on this. Hey, who was your co-pilot in 2007?
Yeah.
Like, get off of me,
man. And your credit card number will be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Blood type again.
So Tom actually lives only like, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes from me. Like every time I go to the grocery store, I pass his house.
Oh, that's awesome.
If I remember right, he was a policeman for many years, and then he opened his own shop, right?
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I fangirl too much around him when I get by him. And then now his son Ian races that car a bunch, and Vince Ratch has done it a whole bunch as well. By the stats I have, it looks like another name we talked about earlier, Clark Rosenstengel, 18 times. Like
there you go.
That dude's an animal. Rick Callahan, 18 times, which I don't know if I've ever even said the name Rick Callahan. So I feel bad. I need to go. Now I got to do all this research on Rick Callahan. Hey, man.
I feel like Rick ran a Corvette for many years. I think Rick was like a C5 Corvette guy for a long time, if I remember right.
Wow, that's interesting. And then Steve Eden, man, I love Steve and Pete. That's such a cool combo. Those dudes doing it the same car every year. I mean, I know they're like, who is this dumbass that just bothers us all week long? But they finished last year, and it was like, I mean, I think that was like their 18th time or something like that, 17th time or something like that to do drag week together and finish it. So.
Yeah, car had a 4-speed in it for many years. They put an automatic in it, but yeah, overall it's the same car. They switched switched gear changing methods, but other than that, it's the same damn thing. Yeah,
super cool. Goldstone 14 times, Schroeder 14, Frank Romano, that's the name we hadn't said tonight. Jeff Dugopolsky, Glenn Hunter, Tom Hawks. I mean, like, dude, the name on these, it just big shout out to Ross Dudley, has done it since the beginning. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, just super cool stuff. The history now, I think we're finally getting into a spot now where the historical stuff is becoming interesting because so many people have done so many things, over time. Like a lot of these late model events or these later events don't have that history yet, but you look back, 20 years of drag week history becomes kind of important, So I always look who's done it, who did drag week one time in 20 years. They never came back, But, Carl Scott for a long time didn't race any other Dragon Drives. He raced real racing. And then I think 666 or maybe Death Week was his like return to Dragon Drive. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean Carl's deal that first year was a prototype for things to come. I mean, pull into the racetrack, bolt the windows back into it, change the center section of the rear end, take the intake manifold off already, drove it down the road with a single 4-barrel on a kind of a smaller, I believe it was a single plane intake. And they would put the giant intake, sheet metal intake on it with the carburetors and plumb the nitrous to it. I mean, the amount of work they did to change that car over one way to the other, we didn't really see that level of changeover until Larry came out with the pickup truck too. And even Larry's process was way less intensive than what Carl and Troy had going on that year. But I mean, it was unreal. I mean, and then they burned the pistons out of it and they put a set of pistons in it in Bowling Green overnight. I mean, it was, they freaking worked for it that year. It was crazy.
And that's wild. That is so cool.
They pulled into, so the hell was the guy's name? The guy's name escapes me that went and got the pistons, but they knew they were in big trouble at Bowling Green. They had gotten a piston. Some dude they found a set of pistons probably in Cleveland or something, and a dude jumped in his car. The fellow racer jumped in his car, hauled us up there to get them. We all left, and we were going to Columbus, Ohio the next day. And, again, it's 2005. Like, no one has the level of communication we have today. And, we're basically everybody's getting their stuff out and getting ready to go. And here comes this friggin' red car. They driven all night, and they got there, and it was like this little group of people. They're like, and it was just a moment that has been repeated. It's been repeated so many times. It almost gets repeated every year now, but it was so new. It was so new to all of us that this idea that this friggin' lunatic from Oklahoma was going to fix this car. Like, you out of your mind? Like, nobody does this. And it friggin' worked. And he was right back off to the races the next day.
Yeah, it's so cool. And like stories like that are, man, they just build character. They build on this whole thing. And how many hundreds of stories of that? Tom Bagley is a great example of that. He swapped a piston in his Fox Body Mustang Turbo LS deal. Nothing crazy, but swaps a piston by himself with a Harbor Freight 38-piece tool set in the parking lot at Tulsa Raceway Park while everybody else is gone.
Yeah.
Jimmy Bowles going over there, check on him, make sure he's got water and all that kind of stuff, just in the parking lot doing the change.
Drag Week was such a non-deal in 2005. Which in retrospect, this is actually very cool. But when we were at Columbus that same day that Carl Scott came in late, I was sitting in the tower working on my notes and stuff. And the Coughlins were there testing their Pro Stock cars and stuff. Like, we were like a test and tune day that we're like annoyed them to be there with. But like Troy Coughlin, Jeggy, multiple members of the Coughlin family were like between runs because there were these gaps of downtime. You only have 30 cars and you're there for the day. There's nothing to do. They were making runs in their Pro Stock cars, which was actually, in retrospect, kind of cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Erica, I'll let you run. I've chewed these guys' ears off. I'll let you run a couple questions there. Sorry.
These couple up here at the top.
Yep.
So Brian Wagner of Dragzine asked a question. Drag Week spawned the drag and drive genre of drag racing. Now there are tons of types of events all across the country. What makes Drag Week stand out over the rest?
You can go first, Mike. You're wearing a hot rod hat.
I think the once a year, right? I think that keeps it special, right? Like you get in this one or you wait a year. I think that really does lock it up. And then just, the media stage that we bring to the table as well, right? When you start looking at the size of our reach and that helps, it's bragging rights, right? And I like to think that, Hot Rod's the biggest voice in the segment. So to win our event is a big deal. And then just the professionalism, we've got a great team that runs it and, it's really well put together. Production with, you got, Freiber and Lohnes, yakking away for 4 or 5 days, I think that helps too. A little bit of everything. I think that, you just keep at it. And like I said, just you just try and keep it special, right? And that once a year does keep it special.
Yeah. I like the moving of it too.
Yeah, and I think that's a function of, the function of those one-time participants we talk about. It's like when the circus is coming to town, people take the chance to go see the circus. One of the coolest weeks that we've had for me personally is when it cwe to the East Coast and, we're at Maple Grove, we were at Cecil County, it's like, man, these are kind of like close to home for me. And you saw a lot of these East Coast guys finally get their shot to do this. The regular dude that can't get the stretch amount of time to tow there and back. He finally had it where he could get, to and from the event in a day's drive. So I think that was a big deal. And I think the other thing I'd say is, thanks to the work of the Gebhardts, it's things that matter have statistics attached to them. Things that are important have a statistical record. It has a legacy to it. And I think that is what, to me, that's what sets Drag Week apart to this point in time, is not just being the first, but it's been managed to the point where we can talk about things that happened every single year. We can talk about who was fast here, what they did here, when, where this happened. And, these other events, you need to continue to build on that each and every year so you can kind of create your own version of that. But, it's the big one. That's just the end of the day. It's the big one. You can never replace something that is first and that has lasted 20 plus years. You just can't do it.
Well, and again, just like I said, it gives people like they want that. They, getting into Drag Week's the first race. Then, from there,
as much as, and this has obviously been a huge topic across drag racing this year in every genre of it, about, payouts and money and all this other stuff. And it always will be. It'll all be part of the conversation. But the end of the day is the people want a jacket from Drag Week. They want an orange helmet from Sick Week. They could give a shit. The 10 grand, whatever you're going to put in your pocket, it's gone. Spent. Doesn't matter. The thing you can put on your shelf and look at and remind you every day of what you did and how you did it and the thing that you set out to accomplish and you accomplished, that's what it means. It's why, these Diamond Wallies that we have for the NHRA this year, people are just going berserk for them because it's a one-time deal. We're seeing guys that haven't come out.
Yeah, race for it.
Exactly, and that means vastly more than a check.
Yeah, and I mean, Drag Week is the OG. There's other great events, but there's only one OG. Yeah. And I think having 10 years before we really saw another run at this, and then almost another 10 years before it really exploded. Like you had Drag Week was it for 10 years. So you've got 20 years of history of just browbeating that this is the only one. And then we have, 2015 to 2022 when Sick Week came out of like, okay, there's a few more now. Now people can get involved. So Drag Week is still running during those years. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know everybody for the most part has pretty well played nice. Like no one's getting on top of each other's dates. Like people are actually being cogent still and conscious about trying to run racetracks down on top of each other. And, I give Matt Frost a ton of credit. Like, Matt was the second guy in, like he was the second guy in the ring and carried that burden himself. I think there's a lot of credit due to Matt Frost and what he's done to make Rocky Mountain Race Week what it is. Another, the second longest running event that exists in this genre. And obviously what Tom's done. Tom's done things, the creativity that Tom's done as far as where he's doing things, how he's doing things like Michigan Miles. He's to a degree franchised the thing. So I think everybody's got their piece of it. But
yeah,
Super Bowl's the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Well, and we are seeing like new people and new formats being tested, which is really cool. Like we know the way, and Eric and I do it the same way. You drag race, and we consider drag drive. You drag race, you drive some, and then you drag race again. Like that's the format that we feel needs to be followed, right? So True Street stuff, you can extend the miles on True Street, but it's still a True Street class, even if it's a 100-mile drive, right? Because you're still pulling in. You can still do all that stuff. You don't have to worry about loading that thing back up and making it to that next track. So you got to do some kind of drive. Even when we do our single day events, which is a pain for a lot of people to understand, but like you got to get your pass, get the car changed over, get on your drive and come back before the track closes, which has really been very fun and interesting. So anyways, we can talk about those later.
We had one other question here, and this one came from Ben Brown. Said, is Brian Lohnes interested in doing a meet and greet sometime during the event?
Does he mean Freiberg or Lohnes?
Yeah, you were asking the wrong guy. I would like to say hello to anybody that would like to say hello. And typically we do that in the afternoons when we're leaving because, when we get there in the morning, we kind of lock in and do the stream. And, David and I, as much as it is the two guys just mentally draining each other for a week and pounding each other to dust, we do lock in and we try to do the best job we can. So we definitely don't bounce out of the room, during the day. But when we're done for the afternoon and we're going downstairs, come meet us at the back of the tower for sure.
Yeah, it's always cool. You guys are always you make a little bit of rounds there. So if racers want to meet those guys, you're probably better off to stay park close to the tower because those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. KJ said our walks around the checkpoints turn into that somewhat.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, when we always pop into the checkpoints, and if somebody's got their car yard sailed on the side of the road, we always dive over and see what the news is or what's going on. And Michelle Turgeon's typically driving whatever SUV that we're in, and sometimes four wheels are on the road, sometimes it's two, sometimes we're 75 to 80 miles an hour in a school zone. A lot of times I'm not paying attention, to be honest with you, but we get from place to place. It's great.
You're making notes in your notes app.
Yeah, making notes or writing my will. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for that. D-Torx, big shout out to them. Again, 10% off code DDR10 over there when you're looking at stuff. Let's move on to the AFCO part here. And then we're going to talk a little bit. We didn't ask Mike Galimi some stuff earlier, so I want to do that. Racers know when you want performance that wins, you want AFCO. From shocks and suspension to cooling brakes and more, AFCO Racing has been helping teams go faster for over 30 years. Built by racers for racers, check out the AFCO Advantage and follow them today on social media for the latest in performance parts. AFCO Racing, built to win. So, all right, Mr. Mike Galimi, any of these tracks new for you for 2026?
No, been to all of them.
Been all of them. Are they new for the event?
Yes, Route 66. Yeah, that's new. Yep. We've been trying that one for a while. It's that was actually several years in the making. And we were there Power Tour last year as kind of the test, and then back to Power Tour this year and this one this year. So
yeah, I'm excited. I've never been there.
Oh, it's great. It's one of my favorite tracks. When we were with Pro Media, the NMRA and NMCA series, it was car count wise, it was the biggest one we've ever had. It was always just incredible competition. The track's always great. Facility is awesome area. I mean, it's just a great part of the country for this type of racing.
That's awesome. What are some things you guys are excited about this year?
I mean, look, I think there's a nostalgic part of me that's very excited to see Larry come back. There's the approach. I mean, I think if you look at Larry the racer in 2005 through 2012, whatever, as good as he was then, the guy is exponentially better now. And just the experience and everything that he's done and how he's done it, I think he brings with him a lot. But I'm looking forward to good old-fashioned down and dirty, knuckle dragging, hopefully crawl across the finish line type of a week. I think that's just what I love about the event. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
It's the same draw every year, right? Just a lot of great people, a lot of the regulars, meeting new people, and then Larson, Lutz. I mean, when was the last time they were together? 2012, to compete, right? And that'll be fun. And then and then the new crowd, right? Like Ned Dunphy and Goldstone's new car. So you've got the old school guys and the new school guys going to battle it out, and I think that's going to be a pretty good battle, or hope to be anyway, right? Like leading into it, that's obviously the talking point. But I mean, every year it's always good, right? Like Brian said, just the challenges and seeing people overcome it and succeed, and for those who've never done it before, right? And to experience it and have a good time.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say newcomers, because there's going to be there's probably 150 new people that have never done a drag and drive event that are going to be at Drag Week. And I mean, those guys may be standing there on the starting line when we end up with historical week, like 2019. I mean, somebody standing there, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's I haven't looked at the numbers this year, but our ticketing system can tell you if they're new. I think we've had this ticketing system over 10 years. So I mean, I think last year we were at 41% new racers.
Wow. Yeah.
So that turnover, like Brian says, just it's good to see new faces. It's not the same old people. But you also have your regulars, right? And the consistent people that do come out and support it.
Wow.
I think in a way, that's really in any business, in any enterprise, you have to keep this influx. You have to keep this flow. It's like a river. You have to keep the river flowing through, and you got to keep some of the same people. You have to have a stable foundation and be able to keep running new customers through. And I think this kind of conversation we've had tonight kind of proves the point of that. That's how a lot of this stuff's going right now.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think is going to be kind of the standout for this year's event? Is it the return of some of those racers? Is it, do you think it's going to be a new quick time, or is it going to be something completely different?
Go for it, Mike.
I mean, obviously, the top players, right? The 5 seconds, like that's easy. But I think if you look at, Alex Taylor coming and what she's been doing lately, right? Now you're starting to look at Ultimate Iron, like, okay, there, now there's records. I think what you looked at, what, Glenn Sheely did last year on the NA side, I think you have a lot of people looking at NA a little differently. Some of those top players, maybe they weren't pushed the last few years. Now you got to, I think a lot of the storylines, I mean, like Brian said, on Monday, you'll see them start to play out, but I think it's going to be a really quick year.
Yeah. I mean, so much is dependent on Mother Nature, right? And Mother Nature is going to dictate a lot of to me, like, I live and die by the forecast when I'm looking at NHRA races. Like, I'm looking out at Indy right now going, okay, like, it's going to be hot middle of the week, but then it looks like it's going to start dropping down into the 80s and then maybe drop into the 70s over the weekend. And when we get closer to drag week, I always, lock into the forecast because, honestly, if it's going to be 95, 96 degrees every day, which we've seen it in Texas before, you want your 5 second average. It ain't happening in 95 degree weather. So, a lot of that, but what it ends up reverting back to is it reverts back to who's a racer here. Like, who's a racer, who's a tuner, who's good on power management, who can deal with a surface that is 1 trillion degrees. And there's a really interesting element of skill involved in that too, that doesn't involve a record number, but it involves somebody's ability to tune to the conditions. So, to me, so much of it hinges on what Mother Nature gives us. So we're still a ways out from knowing that.
I think you're right. That's always been with drag and drive events. The weather changes so dramatically from Monday to Friday, right? And in Maryland we had sun on day one, right? And then we go to new media, which nobody has data there, right? Because nobody's not many people. I mean, some have raced there, but not many people have raced there. And it was an overcast day. The Maple Grove was overcast and cooler.
Yeah.
Right. And then the sun was back out at Cecil County. And you start looking at that and to be consistent through that really does take a really good racer, right? This is not, 10 o'clock at night, 67 degree track temperature and,
right.
45 barrels of glue, right? There's this challenge that's also associated with these types of events.
Well, and one note that I just thought of while you guys were talking about that was I don't feel like there's a wild card track this year. Usually there's one, like New Media. Nobody has, not many of the racers had raced there, right? No, none of the big cars had been there before. Like, it became this like, oh man, is this the day that is going to change this week? I don't feel like we have that track this year. Like, it's all hitters. I mean, Route 66, Byron, Cordova, and St. Louis.
Yeah.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, and I know Route 66 doesn't run on a regular schedule, but we do have Kurt Johnson coming in to do the prep for that one, so we're fortunate enough there. In New Media, when we announced that, the amount of text messages I got, kind of almost laughing about it, and it's like, no, really, they, because Brian and I talked about it before the decision was made. They run alcohol funny cars there, no problem, and. You kind of look at, obviously not a super fast track, but if you go by stats, that was the fastest track we had last year. And so everybody had something, comment about it. And it was Ned went the quickest. He went the quickest time there. So it worked out.
Also the scene of the worst crash in drag week history. Cody Helger piling up that 55, man. That was like, that just the thing would not stop crashing. It was just like, oh my God, thank God he was okay. Yeah, that was horrible.
That was wild.
Even the deals had their issues there too, right? I mean, it was a little bit of a smack 'em up day too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then a wild thrash to get that car back to ready for sick week, and then that car's been 6, 7
Killing it.
So,
Yeah.
And then he goes and wins Roadkill Night.
Yeah.
On blacktop.
Yeah, those guys are beasts. I do want to answer one of the questions here. Is there any way to get a copy of the entry list for each class? You got to wait. That's one of the hardest things for guys like Eric and I is to.
Honestly, though, I think you declare your class at Tech. So
Yeah.
someone else had sent me a note on that, and I went back and I looked real quick, and like the way our Excel sheet is, there's tons of data on it, but I didn't see a column for class.
Yeah.
So I'm not even sure that we have that on that list.
Interesting.
I've never gone through registration.
I didn't think about that.
I couldn't tell you that if you put your class in. So if you've been through registration, let us know. If you put your class in, but I didn't see it on any paperwork that I've gotten so far.
Yeah, Brian Moss in that turbo 600.
Yeah,
he's running in media Friday night to test for drag week. So you guys excited.
There you go. Yeah, we had a feature on that car last year. That was a great one. McGann wrote that one up. That was a fun little car.
I wear my Street Eagle T-shirt with pride.
Big block. Bob here says, for the Lohnes, how close is winter mint green to your favorite green?
I'll tell you what, there is one time a year on one car I see that color. I see an exceptional amount of drag race cars every year from every coast and corner of this country. And there is one automobile in this entire freaking world that has painted that color, Bob, and it's yours. So congratulations. I look forward to seeing it.
And then Andy here saying awesome. A question for Mike. He's doing drag pack. Can I get a pass for a third passenger?
Look, the corporate answer is, you can always buy another pass. Shoot me a note and we'll see what we can do. Shoot me an email. That's the best way.
Okay, let's get back to some nerdy stuff here real quick. I want to talk about some 850 stuff because we were talking about it a little bit earlier. Just want to go through a couple things. For everybody to understand, 2005, it was 850 or slower. 100% of the cars ran 850 or slower. By 2010, that number had dropped to 93%. Like 850 is still king, bro. Like 2015, it's dropped now again to 86%. 2020, it's back up to 90% of the cars are 850 or slower in this fastest 100 list. And then 2025, 47%. That's pretty incredible when you start thinking about the change that we've seen. Like 2021 is probably a better example because drag week didn't run in 2021, 75% of the cars that were on the 100 list, fastest 100 list or racers, 75% of those were 850 or slower. So, and then by this year or by 2025, it's 47%. So the rate at which cars are going faster now is absolutely insane. That's insane.
Yeah, and I think if you were to plot that on a graph and somehow weigh that graph against the emergence of better and better turbochargers and better boost management and electronic fuel injection, you will see exactly why that happened and how that happened. Because that is the only reason, and that is the total reason why that happened. And you look at the vast majority of those cars are turbocharged EFI cars, right? I mean, that's where the majority of those cars are, and I think that trend followed exactly there.
Yeah, I think you look at accessibility of EFI and torque converters. Like that's the other missing point.
Yeah,
like, torque converter technology is absolutely insane compared to what was 10 years ago. Even 5 years ago. I think it's changed dramatically, and just the access that people have to all of it. It's no more voodoo or know this guy or go to a Motec, right? And just like, okay, well, that's the 1% of the 1% running that. So I think just the accessibility to a lot of electronic control has helped quite a bit.
Yeah, the 850 to me is the best class. Like I love how hard it is. I love that it becomes it's an easy car to drive. If you've ever climbed in and out of a 750 car, that kind of sucks as a driver, I would imagine. I've only climbed in one a couple times, but 850 is pretty. You still have like swing out door bars and all that kind of. I mean, look at Rich. He drives that car all over the world.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's the big part is the safety factor of it when you go to the funny car cage. And I'm sure you go outside to to other events like a streetcar takeover, or we used to see it all the time in NMCA and NMRA. That 750 cage or a quicker cage is that's the game changer for the level, right? You could still hop in it, go cruising, with a 10 point or a 12 point. But the funny car cage then changes everything.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever? This is more NHRA tech stuff, but do you think we'll ever see like maybe an 850 cage in a containment seat get us to 8.0s, 820s, like that? Yeah, man. There's just so many cars that are so fast.
There's not enough time left in the show to go down this road, and you could just yeah. I mean, obviously Lonnie Grimm's our buddy and does a lot of our events, and we've known each other for years, and that is a conversation, right? Cars are different. I think you've seen NHRA loosen up quite a bit over the last 7 or 8 years. First it was I remember it used to be $11.99 for a roll bar, then it was $11.50. Then it became 10.0, right? And now it's 9.0 for certain years. And it's just NHRA's hard. The hard part for NHRA is you have to make a rule for a 60s generation vehicle as well as a brand new one, and they're completely different everything.
Yeah. I mean, to Mike's point, I think the theoretical answer is yes. In a late model car, you'll never see it in an old car. You just won't, for every reason you can understand. Yeah.
That's a great point.
It's even complicated, right? The 9.0 is complicated. The whole idea was, the airbags, right? You have side impact airbags in, whatever year that was. You put a roll bar in it. Well, that then changes how that airbag works. So it's just, I think it's on the surface, it sounds really easy, but it's a really complicated problem.
And again, it's like the seatbelt rule, 2 years, because there's some dude that runs that car every Friday night and runs it 10 times a night. And there's some dude that runs that car 2 times a year, like
if you, I went to some of those SFI meetings at PRI show, and it's the sunlight, right? So you have to take the worst case scenario, that dragster that's in the sun, every weekend, versus, like you said, the guy who goes, twice a year, 3 times a year. And you have to go to the worst case scenario, which unfortunately for the street car, isn't the worst case scenario with sunlight, damaging the fibers.
Yeah.
And listen, I heartily recommend anybody that really detests safety rules and the basic safety rules. I beg you to volunteer at your local drag strip for 5 Friday nights over the course of the summer, and you will see some shit that will blow your friggin' mind. And it will make you understand why every rule in the world exists. Because just when you think you've seen the dumbest thing you've ever seen, 3 cars down the tech line, somebody's going to beat it. Yeah.
It's fine. I bolted the ratchet strap to the floor.
Yeah.
No, I mean, to Brian's point, it's just, a lot of these rules have been done for reaction, right, to a problem, to fix a problem, and that means the problem, exists. So when you skirt that safety point, well, someone got seriously injured or died, and that's why that's in place.
Yep. That's great rules. We got to get into SME stuff. And so do you want to do the Performer Built ad read, and then we'll talk about Street Machine Eliminator, and then I'll let you guys go, I promise, but we got to get nerdy about this because this is fun to me.
All right. Performer Built is the official transmission builder of Drag Drive Repeat. At Performer Built Transmissions, their goal is to engineer and build the toughest transmissions on the planet. Performer Built doesn't just rebuild transmissions, they systematically re-engineer each model to eliminate OEM flaws and to achieve the highest levels of performance. That is why they say their transmissions are not just built, they are Performa built. All
right. Street Machine Eliminator.
If they built the C6 in that thing, I'm buying one. Because that's a 9,000 pound car.
Yeah, it's got a 4L60 and it runs 10 O's. Dude, huge twin turbo, big inch LS. This thing is crazy. And there's 5 adults that ride in this thing during 6 summer.
Yeah, that is the greatest advertisement they could possibly have for their product, because that is insane. Yep. That is a battleship. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 5,100 pounds car weight. like this, and then 7,100 pounds with the trailer loaded. I mean, it's incredible. Love Price and the team, the whole family. So Street Machine Eliminator, this is a class that we're going to be following closely this year because I feel like it's the gateway drug. 10 seconds or slower. 10 cars are fast street cars. Eric and I are building his Mustang to get to this point. The Street Machine Eliminator is, like, in my mind, that's our first goal, is to do 10 type racing stuff, right? So I went through, got some stuff. 1,340 racers have raced in Street Machine Eliminator. It replaced Daily Driver, and I'd love to know kind of why, if anybody knows, why we made that swap. Because, like, Daily Driver was like a 1080, and then Street Machine Eliminator went to like a 10.0. Is that the main change? I don't know. I could probably ask Keith, but he didn't.
So I can speak to this because David and I were the ones that came up with this whole thing. So the name came from, I get to claim credit for the name. So that's my one footnote to Drag Week history, is I got to name the class. But David, it was starting to turn into a situation where we had like a lot of people showing up in like rental cars and stuff, and it was getting weird. And David has always had a really weird relationship, and Mike can speak to this. Dave's has always had a weird relationship with this category, in that he knows it needs to exist because it's typically one of the largest classes. Most years it is the largest class in the event, but he's also just paranoid that the whole race is going to turn into guys running 13-second cars, and it's not going to be cool, which has not happened, but that's how his mind always defaults to the most negative scenario in any sort of thing that's going on. So I believe the change was made on a couple of fronts. It was made, one, because we saw more and more people coming with cars that were capable of running faster than we were allowing them to go. And so it was like, okay, we should do something with this. And then he didn't want it to just become an index class. He figured it was just going to turn into a 10.0 index class. So this idea of, having an actual race at the end of it, it helped logistically on Friday to make sure that, you're going to be able to span a day out and then get your rewards at night. You're not going to blow through everything and have these big gaps of time. So it was pragmatic in some ways, and it was just a way to add an element of actual drag racing to Drag Week, which it didn't actually have.
Yeah, I like it.
I think it goes back to when we talk about 850, right? That safety factor, and it's just a natural barrier. You put 10.0 as the limit. You don't need a full cage. You can just do a 6-point. 850 is the same thing, right? Like, you're at the 850 cage. You don't have a funny car cage. It doesn't change dramatically for that next step for safety gear. For 10.0, you don't. I mean, you should. No one's to say you shouldn't wear pants and shoes and gloves, but it's not required. So it's just a natural barrier, which works out really well.
And it's cool. I mean, it turned into a cool thing, beyond probably our expectations. It turned into a very cool thing to watch the bump spot and where the bump spot has moved every year, and how that's evolved, of where you used to need to be to get in this thing, and now where you have to be. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second, because it's really an interesting topic.
Yeah, Kevin McKenna, right, editor over at National Dragster. Like, that's always he sweats it out. Right? He's a big bracket racer and phenomenal at it. And he runs Drag Week. I think he's done it 3 or 4 times, maybe even 5 times. And and as that bump creeps quicker, he's like, you can just see it in his face.
He's upgraded his car. Like, he's taken the thing down to VMP to get the blower stuff upgraded to make sure he's got enough cushion to get in to where the bump spot's been. And I think that the cool part of it for me is guys like Greg Dukopolsky and several other guys are very good hardcore bracket racers that are there to run this class. Like, I love the fact that there are dudes that are dedicated to it, because the carrot on the end of the stick is getting into the race on Friday and actually racing, which I think is killer.
The street race side, it's like, you take out the third digit, and the top runners in SME are taking out the third digit also, right? So it's just as dramatic, but then you have, 30, 29, 30 other cars that are trying to stay off that bump spot and stay ahead of it. So you have it working both ways on the bottom side and the back side of this thing. And the back side is always a moving number. And if you're caught in that middle spot, like, you may not get in.
Right.
So in 2015, there was 106 cars in the SME, and in 2025 there was 218. So huge jump there. The best average ET was Mike Reimar's with a 10.03 in 2023. It was a 10.03.03. And then Jared Ball was a 10.03.36 in 2022. And then Bill Spangler with a 10.03.49 in 2021.
Yeah. And you look at how these guys race the thing on Friday, and they can drive both ends of the racetrack. It's not they're the only guys you'll see all week trying to cut a light. They're really the only guys that are up there, and to their credit, they're getting reps. Yeah, they're getting reps. They're getting ready for Friday. So yeah, it's a different approach.
Yeah, and we start looking at like 850 stuff, and there's like 13 people that have ever ran a perfect 850 pass, right? In the SME, there's 2 people that have ever ran a perfect 10.0 pass. 2. And so my question for this, and I want to give a shout out to Ryan Frizzell, day 2, 2019, and then Bill Spangler, day 3, 2021. Does a perfect pass even matter in this class? It doesn't. I mean, when you're looking at making the top 32, but does it become competition? Are you trying to get, it's so interesting that the dynamic from 850, everybody wants to run 8500, but here it's like, man, if I can get a 10.0 anything or 10.20 anything, I should make the bracket race.
I think for the virtually autistic bracket racer, it's a cool thing to be able to run dead on with a 0. I mean, that satisfies the tism of being the bracket racer. But I think the big reason is technologically, these 850 guys, they are able to tune and set up a nice drive shaft curve. Like, they're able to work those cars to such a finite degree that guys in Street Machine just don't have the tech to get there. So when you see whatever it is, a dozen guys with these perfect runs and the 850 level stuff versus the 2 guys. I mean, the 2 guys that did it in SME did it off the foot brake, and with really just working on the setup of the race car. And to your point, no, there is an advantage in every bracket race to being a faster car. There's no advantage to breaking out, but it's a bragging right. It's a bragging right to be the number 1 qualifier in anything, right?
Yeah, for sure. And big shout out to Bill Spangler. He has made the switch. He's no longer running in a big block Ford stuff now. He's got a twin turbo Godzilla in it. He's going to do some 850 racing. So should be pretty fun. In his first outing, ran like a 54 by his 3rd pass. Like, it was pretty impressive. So everybody's in trouble in street race big block power rider. Okay, nice. Let's talk bump spot, because this is important. The top 32 are the qualifiers for the Street Machine Eliminator bracket race. I do like this, and you do this and then a stick shift shootout. That's the only way you can really race heads up at drag meet, right? Those 2. The swap here is what blows my mind. 2015 Donald Polka Chevy Camaro 1157 as the bump spot. Right now, I just took the top 32. Like, that would have been the bonus. Now, whether more people got in because other people decided they weren't going to race, that's another thing. But this is the 32nd car in this SME class. 1157 in 2015. This now, as of last year, 1048 for Mr. Mike Mara. I mean, in a Plymouth Horizon, may I say, total badass. Way to go, dude. Studley. But that's more than a second, dude, for the top 32 cars. Now, I know we've more than doubled the class count, but that can't drive that much change. That can't drive that much change.
Access to power.
Yeah, I think the accessibility to, as Brian said, the power. We talked about EFI and the converters, and then just the attention, right, on trying to do it and going after that. I think, you have more people who do want to compete at that level. So that also drives, more cars to chase that average.
Yeah, it's
the winners too.
The paranoia is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The paranoia of not qualifying makes the guy that maybe needs 50 horsepower, he goes and picks up 250 horsepower just to make sure. It's why McKenna ships his car down to VMP to have the blower upgraded when he probably could have made it by a 10th, but he wants to make sure he can make it by 2/10. And that's why it becomes a snowball. And I would bet you we destroy that 1048 this year. You know, because a lot of guys with cars that are hovering about 1050 are probably going to show up with cars that can now run 1030. And that's going to drive that 48 down to a low 40 or maybe even higher than that, or maybe even, a high 30 or something.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's really interesting to me because it really drives a whole different dynamic of the event. Like, instead of going for, your absolute best, say your car runs 1020s on a good run, but, hey, if I turn this thing up a little bit, I can run like a 1010. Now you risk blowing it up and hurting it.
Well, I mean, to Brian's point of access to power, you upgrade a turbocharger or a supercharger, now you're looking at a 980 car, right? And it's easier to dial back a 980 car to 10.0, right? And
yeah,
I think, and we see it in 850, right? Like Rick Stanke's car. I mean, I think he's been 780s, right? It's just easier to turn it down and manage it better. And I think that's what you're seeing.
Yeah, I love 2023. Just big shout out to Mike Turner, who had no idea. He was like number 35, and 3 people had decided they didn't want to race, and then he goes out and wins it. Dude, that guy was so pumped. I love that for him, and he deserves every bit of it, because that's what, I mean, he's up the nitrous on that dart every year. He's like, I just want to make the 32. That's my number. Like, he's went from 1070s to, he's gonna hope. He's like, man, I hope a 1050 will do it, because that's what I'm going to bring to the table. So it should be pretty interesting. I know this class doesn't get just a ton of attention, but I think it's really cool that there's 200 plus people in there duking it out for 32 spots.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, it's like the sportsman class for NHRA, right? It's the backbone of NHRA, and SME is the backbone of the streetcar segment.
And their approach has changed over the years too. Like a lot of guys, for years, a lot of SME guys were there to make 10 or 15 runs over the course of the day. Like a lot of those guys would just hot lap the wheels off those cars. And like all things, as we've seen it get faster, as we've seen guys turn in the one good hit, they're off and gone. That's another dynamic that's changed a lot over the years with a lot of this stuff too, where the one and done element used to be, kind of a rarity. And now guys have their stuff so well dialed in. It's an interesting thing. Like for the spectator, it's like, you better be there in the morning, because there's a good shot you're not going to see. If you don't show up till 10:30 in the morning, you're going to see a couple guys in mobility scooters going down the racetrack. Like, it's half of these guys are packed up and gone by then. Yeah.
You better make sure they're Big Block Bob says Jeff Togopolsky claims to have the most round wins in Drag Week history. I would love to see that. How do we get that kind of info? How do we get the breakdown of the rounds and things like that?
I believe Tanya Turk might have all that information.
All that stuff's online. You got to go digging around for it, but it's there, believe it or not. Okay. Yeah.
All right. I'll do some digging, because that would be fun to know too. Like, again, add all the nerd shit to it.
Togopolsky probably claims to be the most handsome guy that's ever run Street Machine Eliminator too.
He probably is.
There's a lot of lies. There's probably a lot of lies attached to a lot of this stuff.
That's awesome. Well, SME stuff, guys. What's something people need to be looking for? What should we be watching for? I mean, obviously, we're going to be glued to the live stream if we're not there, or people will be glued. Eric and I are both going to be there. But what should people be watching for this class?
I think what we just talked about, right? The bump spot. It's going to be really sensitive. I think, I mean, Brian's called a big shot on it, but I think that 1048, that mid tens, I think is going to be the area. But I think the bump spot's going to be the big conversation with SME.
And for me, it's just diversity. I think the one thing that Street Machine Eliminator has beyond any other class at Drag Week and at a lot of different events is an incredibly wide range of cars that illustrate the fact that you can literally go fast in 2026 with pretty much any platform you can imagine. Like stuff that as guys of all of our general age generation would have looked at 15 years ago and just written off. Like, why would you even bother? Now you have, again, access to electronic fuel injection, access to tuning software, and of course, turbocharging's just changed the world so much in the aftermarket. You can make great power and go fast with pretty much anything, and SME proves it.
Yeah. Big shout out to Jim Forbes. Did you guys follow his Great American Detour trip? That guy drove.
How can you not?
Miles. It was awesome, man. He was so cool. Kicks my ass drag racing. It was great. It was cool to watch him just drive out of my life. If I had another like 100 feet I'd have had him. But
I think in a former life, Jim was a hobo that rode the rails, because the guy just all he does is move. He's been across the country like 84 trillion times in all these different cars. It's awesome. It's fantastic.
Yeah. It's so cool. And it looks like he's going to be in the XJ Jeep this time. So that'll be kind of fun.
Nice.
Cool. Guys, listen, thank y'all for doing this. I really appreciate y'all coming on tonight. It just excites me more and more for Drag Week. This is a big year. I mean, it just continues to get faster. Like last year was the quickest Drag Week ever. I mean, I think we're going to look at it again this year. It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, Larry's posted some testing videos with that thing going the low 4.0s, and I don't even think he ran it all the way to the 8th mile. So, I mean, if anything, and I'm not pumping the guy's tires, but if anything, I'm not sure anybody has showed up as prepared as he will be when he shows up with an overall package, probably the best anybody's ever had. So take that for what it is, but I think that thing is set to run. And again, one bad day can ruin the whole thing, but damn, if it goes right for this guy, look out below.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're looking at it. I mean, Larson, Lutz, Brian Goldstone. Has anybody heard? I know he texted me earlier, but I'm scared to ask him if the Corvette will be ready in time. I know it was at Devin's place, and those guys are working hard to go race PDRA. But anybody heard anything from there? I mean, that car's been in the 5s. Lutz been 588. Just the day before Drag Week last year. I mean, Ned Dunphy is testing this weekend. Like,
I think everybody forgets about Ned, right? Like everyone gets caught up on the Larson Lutz combo, and here's Ned who's got the record.
Yeah,
Andy did a bunch of upgrades since last year too.
Yeah, so he's changed quite a bit. We were chatting the other day, and bigger tires. He's got weight out of the car, but then also he's got weight he could move around, which he didn't have last year. Upgraded his cooling system, which they felt was an area that needed to be improved last year. So he's
and look, the racecraft element of it too. I mean, he has raced a ton this year. He's had great success in a pro mod in the radial car. Like, I know it's a different car and a different genre, but the more repetition, the more laps you have, the better the racecraft is going to be. And I think Ned has seen more of the racetrack this year than he saw last year before Drag Week as well, which is going to help.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he just won Pro Boost PDRA. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
That is to me, again, not pumping anybody's tires. That is right now one of the most difficult classes of drag racing to win in. That is a very high level class. Most guys are running very similar combinations, very small pool of tuners. So it's a very even field. And he did a great job.
Yeah, big time. So I'm really excited. Well, again, sorry. We'll let you guys get out of here. Thank y'all for spending the night with us, man. It was awesome. I can't wait, dude. Eric, what's the countdown now? What did you say earlier? 20-something days?
Yeah, no. I think it was less than that. I think it was like 18.
Oh, my God. I got to work on this old truck tonight. So it's got to get redemption.
I got to buy my plane ticket.
Hey, I'm driving the old truck up. Whether I got to fix it up there or not, I'm bringing it. So it's never been to Chicago, so it's coming.
Good deal.
So, it'll be a good time. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all very much. We'll see you in a couple weeks, I guess.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Yep. See you guys.
Dude, how awesome of a show was that?
That was great. I'm more excited for Drag Week than I was 2 hours and 12 minutes ago.
Yeah, we went a little longer than I had intended, but man, when you're talking to those two guys, it's just the knowledge between those guys is awesome, and the stories for sure.
Oh, 100%. We could have easily went another hour. What everybody didn't see is all the notes that we skipped for tonight.
Yeah, I'll skip, don't put in, delete. Yeah, there's so much stuff there. It's pretty cool. Can't wait to hang out with everybody, man. It's gonna be really fun. All right, dude, send us out. We got to get this over to Brian so we can start cutting this stuff up, guys. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe. I mean, God, like the next 25 days. If Drag Week is in 18 days, the next 25 days is going to change Drag Drive Repeat. The trajectory is going to go back a whole nother level.
Yeah, I mean, these could be record-breaking weeks leading, coming up soon. So make sure you guys are following along to get everything. I mean, we're going to have pictures, we're going to have videos. It's going to be incredible. But once again, thank you to all of our race car friends who tuned in tonight, asked questions. Again, we appreciate each and every one of you and look forward to seeing our race car friends here in just a couple weeks. And again, we can't travel to all these events and do these things if it isn't for this list of sponsors. So thank you to Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solution, AFCO Racing Products, Performa-Built Transmissions, Car Chains 3D, Low Dollar Motorsports, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk. And again, I will not be on Saturday morning, but there will be a show. So I will see you guys next Wednesday.
Yep. All right, guys. See ya.